Welcome to Master Trader Live, where you can learn simple market analysis to make money investing and trading. I'm Greg Capra, and today I'm going to show you how we enter stocks that are extended, at least in the short term. Let's take a look at that. All right, so here is a chart of the Euro futures. They had a big move to the downside yesterday, and one of my subscribers contacted me to say, well, how do I get into this? I'm not sure that he had it, maybe gave it up already with the big move. Many do that, and then once the big move starts, how do you get on board? It's not always easy. So here, let's just take a look at this setup that we have here. And one of the things with a setup is, does it have the structure, the price structure, to suggest a big move in the first place? Sometimes, prices are just moving in a choppy fashion, and, your expectation for a big move just really isn't there. But here we do. I mean, the euro has been in an uptrend for a while, and here's this distribution pattern here, which is called a head and shoulders top. And then yesterday, it just sliced down through that support with a wide range bar to the downside. And that happened on increasing volume. That, of course, suggests a move further lower. Now, the next question is further lower to where? Now, initially, you're probably looking at this place right here, and that probably would be a stall point. But one of the concepts that we teach is a smaller part of a pattern, or even a candle or two, how potent is it, if you will, in relation to the big picture? And this pattern right here, this sideways consolidation, isn't all that significant in relation to this topping pattern that's played out over the last couple of months or so. Now, this shelf down here is quite a bit bigger, and that is definitely a possibility. So we don't really want to go any further than that because, let's get there and see what it looks like, and then we'll see if it has further to go. So at this point, we have to define some probable points where we could put on a position that would make sense. The other side of this is if it just keeps dropping, there's nothing you can do about it. You've missed the boat from this time frame. We're going to look at smaller time frames and see what the possibilities might be. And so let's clean this up, and let's go to a 60-minute chart and look at where there are reference points of price resistance where we could possibly enter this position. Now, based on that move down yesterday, this was a huge move, and this is what I call a void. There is no resistance because of the momentum to the downside here. So what do? Well, let me use this drawing tool. So you've got this little shelf here where price is consolidated. And at that point, after a big move to the downside like this, which becomes climactic in the short term, one of the tips I would give you is that do not play what looks climactic on an intraday chart when it looks like the euro does on a daily chart, breaking down from a large topping pattern. They historically don't work. So this went sideways for a while, and now it's dropped again. So how can I get on board this? Well, if it gets above here, that opens up the possibility for a pretty significant move to the upside. And we could trade that, of course, at the appropriate time, but it would have to create an area of resistance that isn't there right now. So how does it do that if that was to happen? Well, if it goes up and then begins to shift or reverse to the downside, you could enter there. But I wouldn't do that because of the size of this void. I would wait for it to retest that pattern and create a larger area of resistance and then enter, because this is where I could put a stop loss. And it would be a relatively reliable setup historically to be entering there with a stop loss there, looking for it to move down. Now, if you're thinking ahead here, the next question would be, well, Greg, what about this area over here? What happens when it gets down there? Well, the honest answer to that is you don't know, and neither do I. However, when we look at this big pattern from the daily, and what's happened here, the trend suggests that prices will be able to go down through it. That's the unknown. You just have to deal with it and manage accordingly. It would probably stall there and begin to rattle around, and you would just have to sit and wait through those wiggles to see if that big picture would follow through to the downside. Now, what if you wanted to go down to an even smaller time frame? Probably, I don't think I would suggest you do that at this point in time because of how extended it is here intraday, but let's just entertain the thought for a moment and go down to a 5-minute time frame. And here you see that shelf of that created that I showed you on the 60-minute chart. And now it looks pretty big from this time frame because it is within this time frame. Now, so what we would do here is now wait. Since it's somewhat extended here, now we wait for it either to base here and then break again, or rattle around here. It might move higher and wait. Maybe it forms another one of those double top patterns up there, and we can get on board. Now, you would have to manage it from this time frame. One of the hurdles or pitfalls that many short-term traders fall into is that when it doesn't work out in this time frame, they look to revert back excuse me, into this time frame, and this is where they get slaughtered because they're not using money management and based in this time frame. They're operating in the smaller time frame, and when things don't work out, they have a tendency to hold on and say it'll be okay because this time frame suggests it's going to go lower. And when it doesn't, that's where they lose all or most of their money, and why a lot of people don't make it in this business trying to trade for a living. Okay? I hope that helps. Any questions, type them in below, and we'll take a look at that and send you some answers. Of course, visit mastertrader.com. You can sign up for one of our free services and get to know us.